Look around you right now. If there is anything red in your room, I guarantee your eyes have already darted to it at least once since you sat down. A notification badge on your phone, a stop sign out the window, a totally legitimate fire extinguisher. Red is loud. Red is aggressive. Red commands your attention in a way that blue, green, or brown absolutely do not.
And there is a deeply unsettling reason for that. You see, for most of mammalian history, our ancestors were basically colorblind. To them, the world was just a muddy, washed-out gradient of blues and yellows. But then, millions of years ago, primates suddenly evolved a biological superpower, trichromatic vision, the ability to see the color red. For decades, scientists thought we developed this superpower for a nice, wholesome reason, to find delicious ripe fruit hidden in the trees. But recent evolutionary biology suggests a much darker, much more terrifying reality. We didn't evolve to see red just to find a nice snack. We evolved to see red because if we didn't, we were going to get murdered. To understand why seeing the color red is such a big deal, we have to travel back in time about 100 million years. Back then, dinosaurs ruled the earth, and our great-great-great-grandparents were basically tiny, terrified rat creatures hiding in the bushes. Now, reptiles, birds, and fish, they have incredible color vision. Many of them have 4 types of color receptors in their eyes. They can see a kaleidoscope of colors, including ultraviolet light. But mammals didn't have the luxury of strolling around in the bright sunshine admiring the rainbow. If a mammal stepped out in broad daylight, it instantly became a McNugget for a passing T-Rex. So early mammals adapted by becoming strictly nocturnal. They hid during the day and scurried around at night. And if you're only awake in the pitch black, color vision is completely useless. Your eyes have 2 main types of light-detecting cells, rods and cones. Rods are great for seeing in low light, but they only see in black and white. Cones are what give you crisp, high-definition color vision, but they require a lot of bright light to work. Since our rat ancestors lived entirely in the dark, Mother Nature did what she always does when you don't use something. She threw it in the evolutionary garbage bin. Mammals traded away their advanced color-detecting cone cells to make room for more low-light rod cells. We lost the ability to see red, and we lost the ability to see ultraviolet. We were left with a completely downgraded visual system, just 2 sad little cones. One for short wavelengths, which is blue, and one for medium wavelengths, which is green. This is called dichromatic vision. And by the way, this is still the standard for almost every mammal on Earth today. Your dog, your cat, horses, bulls, mice, they are all essentially red-green colorblind. When a matador waves a red cape at a bull, the bull doesn't care about the color red. It just sees a dark gray piece of fabric flapping annoyingly in its face. For tens of millions of years, the mammalian world was a boring 2-tone filter. Until a giant space rock smashed into the Gulf of Mexico, wiped out the dinosaurs, and gave mammals the all-clear to step back out into the sunshine. Fast forward a few million years. The dinosaurs are gone, and some mammals have moved up into the trees. These are the early primates. They are swinging around, living their best daytime lives, but they are still trapped in that blue and yellow dichromatic world. Leaves were a yellowish gray. Fruits were a yellowish gray. Predators were a yellowish gray. But then, about 30 to 40 million years ago, a glorious genetic accident happened. In the ancestors of old-world monkeys and apes, which is our family tree, there was a mutation on the X-chromosome. The gene responsible for our green-sensitive cone accidentally duplicated itself. It was a classic copy-paste error. But over time, that duplicated gene mutated slightly. Instead of picking up green light, it shifted just enough to start catching long-wavelength light. Suddenly, the lights turned on. We had a third cone. We had blue, we had green, and for the first time in mammalian history, we had red. We became trichromatic. This was a massive biological upgrade. Imagine watching an old black and white television for your entire life, and then someone sneaks into your house and replaces it with a 4K OLED HDR flat screen. The jungle suddenly popped. The contrast was dialed up to 11. But evolution doesn't just hand out 4K upgrades for fun. Maintaining a highly complex visual system and the massive brain processing power required to decode all those new colors burns a ton of calories. If a mutation doesn't keep you alive long enough to make babies, it disappears. So why did this specific mutation stick around? Why was seeing red so unbelievably crucial to our survival that it became hardwired into our DNA? If you crack open a standard biology textbook from 10 years ago, you will find the classic answer, the foraging hypothesis. According to this theory, primates evolved to see red because it made them the ultimate grocery shoppers of the jungle. Imagine you are a colorblind monkey sitting in a completely green tree looking for a ripe, nutritious piece of fruit. If you can't see red, that fruit blends in perfectly with the leaves. You have to go up and sniff it or squeeze it or take a bite out of a bitter, unripe green apple before you find the good stuff. But if you have trichromatic vision, boom! The ripe, red, sugar-filled fruits practically glow in the dark against the green canopy. You can spot the most calorie-dense foods from 50 feet away. You get more energy, you grow a bigger brain, you outcompete the colorblind monkeys, and you win the evolutionary lottery.
It makes perfect sense, right? Red equals sugar, red equals survival, red equals life. It's a great story, but as scientists started looking closer, the fruit theory started to fall apart. Because here is the problem. There are plenty of primates in the world today that are still totally colorblind, like many New World monkeys in South America. And guess what? They have absolutely no problem finding ripe fruit. They use their sense of smell, they look at the shape of the fruit, and they track the brightness of the leaves. They don't need to see red to get a sugary snack.
Furthermore, if spotting fruit was the ultimate driving force behind color vision, you would expect our eyes to be perfectly tuned to the specific red of jungle fruits. But they aren't. Our red and green photoreceptors are incredibly close together on the light spectrum. So close, in fact, that it seems like they are tuned to detect very specific, very sharp contrasts in the exact same environment.
We weren't just looking for a stationary apple hanging on a branch. Our visual system was fine-tuned to detect something hiding in the leaves, something with a distinct pattern, something that was waiting to kill us.
Enter Dr. Lynn Isbell, an evolutionary biologist who proposed a theory that is as fascinating as it is terrifying, the snake detection hypothesis. Dr. Isbell pointed out a very inconvenient truth about primate evolution. Around the exact same time our ancestors were developing advanced trichromatic vision and massive visual processing centers in our brains, a new kind of monster was slithering onto the evolutionary stage, the venomous snake. Before this, snakes were mostly constrictors. They were dangerous, sure, but you usually had to be pretty close to one to get grabbed. But venomous snakes, vipers, cobras, elapids, they were a completely different game. They were nature's perfect ambush predators. They didn't chase you, they just sat in the green leaves, perfectly still, covered in highly complex geometric patterns, waiting for a monkey to reach for a branch. One bite, and it was game over. For an early primate, venomous snakes were the single greatest threat to existence. And here is where the biology gets wildly specific. If you look at the brains of primates with trichromatic vision, like us, we don't just have special eyes. We have an incredibly expanded region in your brain called the pulvinar nucleus. This part of the brain is essentially a rapid-fire threat detection system. It bypasses the logical, thinking part of your brain and connects directly from your eyes to your amygdala, the fear center. And what exactly is this hyper-fast neurological highway tuned to detect? Diamond shapes, scales, geometric patterns breaking up the visual field, and, most importantly, the stark contrast of yellows, reds, and blacks against a green background. We didn't just evolve to see red to find a snack. We evolved our incredibly specific, highly contrasted color vision to break the camouflage of a venomous snake hiding in the grass. The evidence for this is staggering. When neuroscientists put electrodes into the visual cortex of monkeys and show them pictures of random shapes, the neurons fire at a normal rate. But when they show them pictures of snake patterns or the contrasting warning colors of a venomous snake, their neurons fire faster and more aggressively than with any other visual stimulus. Even monkeys that have been raised in a laboratory and have never seen a snake in their entire lives will instantly panic if they are shown a picture of one. The fear isn't learned, it is genetically installed software. Your brain was built by millions of years of your ancestors narrowly avoiding death by murder noodle. When you look at the global distribution of primates, the theory holds up perfectly. In Madagascar, where there are no venomous snakes, the lemurs never evolved trichromatic vision. They are perfectly happy being colorblind. In South America, where venomous snakes arrive very late in evolutionary history, the monkeys have a weird, chaotic mix of vision. Some females have color vision, while the males are completely colorblind. But in Africa and Asia, the ground zero for the deadliest, most advanced venomous vipers and cobras on planet Earth, every single old world monkey and ape has flawless, rapid-fire, high-definition, trichromatic color vision. The arms race was simple. The snakes evolved better camouflage and deadlier venom. We evolved better eyes to spot them before we stepped on them. We traded away our peace of mind for an anxiety-inducing high-definition threat detection system. So what does this mean for you, sitting in your room looking at a red notification badge on your phone? It means that modern society has completely hijacked millions of years of evolutionary trauma for marketing purposes. There is a biological reason why seeing the color red actually causes a physiological reaction in your body. When you are exposed to a bright red environment, your heart rate actually increases. Your blood pressure spikes slightly, your pupils dilate, your nervous system is flooded with a microdose of adrenaline. Your logical brain knows you are just looking at a stop sign, or a clearance sale banner at Target, or a fast food logo. But the ancient, primitive monkey part of your brain, the pulvinar nucleus that kept your ancestors alive, is screaming, "Pay attention! Danger! Blood! Venom! Look at this right now, or you are going to die!" Red is the ultimate biological override. It is the color of oxygenated blood pumping out of a wound, and it is the color of the warning patterns on the deadliest predators our species has ever faced. We paint our fire engines red. We make our stoplights red. We circle important things in red ink. We didn't choose red for these things because it's pretty. We chose red because it is the one frequency of light that forcibly yanks the primate brain out of autopilot and demands immediate, panicked attention. Evolution didn't give you color vision to make the world beautiful. It gave you color vision to keep you alive. If you enjoyed this deep dive into why your brain is basically just a paranoid survival computer, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, preferably one that isn't colored red.